Naira is expected to be under pressure until backlogs for forex payments are cleared. Central Bank of Nigeria imposes cash reserve ratio levy on banks. Globally, gold prices continue to climb on concerns of a resurgence of coronavirus in China and US that encourage investors to buy. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA. We are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital, and I am Benny Adams, your guide. OPEC is given underperforming countries which have not yet submitted final plans for conformity to their agreed production adjustment until Monday, 22nd June 2020 to submit their schedules for compensation to the OPEC Secretariat. This is part of the outcome of the 19th OPEC Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee held via video conference in the face of COVID-19 shock. Lydia Sampson reports.
The Joint Ministerial Committee reiterated the critical role that the Declaration of Cooperation continues to play in supporting oil market stability and economic recovery. Under the chairmanship of Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman, Saudi Arabia's Minister of Energy, and co-chair Alexander Novak, Minister of Energy of the Russian Federation, the conference reviewed the severe global economic downturn as well as the monthly report prepared by the Joint Technical Committee and recent developments in the global oil market. The JMC also analyzed immediate prospects for the remainder of 2020 and into 2021. The committee took note of the overall conformity of 87% for the month of May 2020. It also observed individual country conformity levels and reiterated the critical importance that all participating countries achieve their 100% level and make up for any monthly shortfalls in the months of July, August and September. It welcomed the express commitments from those countries below the 100% in May conformity level as specific compensation plans, highlighting how this will be accommodated and delivered between July and September.
Bid to mop up liquidity and prevent speculation in the foreign exchange markets, the Central Bank of Nigeria on Friday deducted 216 billion naira from banks' accounts as cash reserve ratio. In addition, the Apex Bank mopped up 80 billion naira through sale of secondary market treasury bills. The development prompted the cost of funds to rise sharply, with interest rates on collateralized lending rising by 740 basis points to 15.17% from 8.3% the previous week. Many Nigerians have already started purchasing air tickets online in anticipation of the June 21 date for the resumption of domestic flights. The Ministry of Aviation came with what many consider a bombshell that the date is no longer feasible to open the nation's airspace.
We never said aviation is going to start definitely on the 21st. We are supposed to put our report back. Based on what we have, we'll have some work to do. As such, June 21st is not a feasible date to resume operations domestic. The Civil Aviation Authority, despite all pressures coming from all quarters, will not approve the start of operations any date until we are sure and we confirm that we are ready to start in a safe, secure, organized, and efficient manner. To do otherwise will be disastrous for all of us.
Similarly, ahead of the eventual reopening of Nigerian airports, physical distancing floor markings and separation of domestic departure and arrival of passengers to use different boarding and exit gates to reduce contact at the airports are now in place. Emmanuel Ayimiro visited the domestic wing of Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, and reports that other airports are set to have put same arrangements in place.
Beginning from the boarding gate of the Abuja domestic terminal, a simulation of what passengers are expected to do when the airport fully reopens was demonstrated using the physical distancing floor markings of 2 meters apart.
You can see the markings, they have been provided, and every passenger has to move after the other. So there is no room for coming together again. And from this place, wearing of face masks into the terminal building is compulsory.
Luggages of passengers will be disinfected in front of the terminals. Our footwear too, there will be special mats that will be placed in front of the entrances. As you walk on top of these foot mats, your footwear will be disinfected. So these are some of the protocols that we expect will be in place before the resumption of flights.
Apart from temperature checks and other protocols, the terminal buildings where tickets are sold have also been marked. Passengers who are, however, going to use the escalator to the boarding arena will no longer be more than 5 as against 20 or more in the past. The new protocols have also altered the seating arrangements in the departure halls as well as the baggage claim arena.
Before now, was 560 seats, but with this social distances arrangement, we are now having like 460 left. The same thing on the Terminal B, other wing of the domestic terminal, it was like 460, we now have 220.
In trying to decongest the terminal in line with the NCDC guidelines, all protocol officers who usually accompany their principals into the terminals will not be allowed anymore.
Indications emerged last Thursday that Nigeria's plan to reopen its local airports for operations on June 21 is slowed down by multiple hurdles in the aviation sector as the country tries to navigate the challenges posed by COVID-19. From the shutdown on March 23rd, the federal government have contemplated the reopening of the airports twice, but ended up extending the exercise to allow for wider consultations. While Nigerians keep their fingers crossed, we have Godi Ike, an aviation researcher, to look into what all this portend for the Nigerian economy and what to expect when the airspace opens. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you, Benny.
Well, it's a fact that the aviation sector in Nigeria and globally is worse hit by this COVID-19, talking about economic losses.
That's right.
IATA has posted a revenue loss of about $252 billion.
Yeah.
That is globally. For Nigeria, are we counting such cost? What's the estimate like?
Well, for Nigeria, we don't seem to have figures emerging from the appropriate authorities. But the fact remains that no sector has been hit as hard as the aviation sector has been hit by coronavirus. And what's more, economy of a nation depends a whole lot on the aviation sector because it's the easiest and the fastest way to move around goods and services. So as it is today, you can say that goods and services are lame. They are just sitting like sitting ducks, and and nothing is really going on seriously. And so you can imagine what that is. The day the figures will come out, it will be very painful to hear them.
Well, as strategic as air travel is to the movement of goods and services, and Nigerians are eagerly waiting for this reopening, what should travelers expect?
Oh well, there's going to be like it's commonplace out there now, the new normals. People must learn now to obey rules very strictly. There's no chance for messing around anymore. As a matter of fact, the issue of physical distancing is like Emma Yemiro mentioned. The airports are already marked. Everyone is expected to be in the proper position that he or she is expected to be, and not anywhere else. And then what's more, you must ensure that you are well enough to travel, because your health will be checked. Apart from temperature, I guess there should be some medical personnel that will be around, and that will be observing, because apart from the physical looks of people, there are psychological ones, that there's a way people can behave or move. An experienced medical person would notice that something is wrong with this individual, and then walk towards the individual respectfully and nicely, and ask questions, and before you know it, you begin to unravel some situation. So people must be ready and be sure to to be ready to travel. That's to say, your health must be in place. That is not discounting the fact that you have asymptomatic individuals who may have this virus and don't even know they have them, and be moving around until test is carried out, and then they are told you are actually positive, even though you are feeling well.
Well, you agree with me that
yeah.
as much as passengers are eager, business persons are eager to travel by air, that is talking about the reopening of the airports, there are also concerns about safety measures. Are players ready to adhere to this so as to attract travelers' confidence?
As a matter of fact, that is the main issue that's caused this delay we're having. I was on this channel a week ago, and I remember I mentioned to your teaming listeners around the world that when airplanes sit on the ground, their airworthiness become challenged. As a matter of fact, an average jumbo jet is not expected to sit on the ground more than 24 hours, and after that, line engineers must be in place to begin to take care of a lot of things that will ensure that the plane will remain airworthy. For planes to have sat down for
close to 3 months.
Close to 3 months. Be sure and quote me anywhere in the world, those planes are not airworthy anymore. They must be serviced. In the first, and then for those who were mindful, I don't know how mindful our own engineers have been, but they have their own actions to defend. But for those who were mindful, line engineers were kept at the airports and at the places where airplanes were parked. Every day the engines will be run to ensure that they really fire well and warm up. Once a week the tires will be raised and run. If there's no room for that, you have a tow van to tow the airplane up and down the runway to keep those wheels greased. That's correct. And then the landing gears, especially the shock strut. Yes, I don't want to bother you with those technical. Those shock struts, yes, they need to be greased, so that as you take off, you may succeed in tucking them in, but when it comes to
landing
and getting them out, they may say no, I'm not well enough to come out, and that means looking for foam, fire extinguishing foam to lay on the runway so that you can land on your belly.
We don't expect
you
that
don't want
to
that.
happen.
You don't want that to happen. And a whole lot of things. Even the panel, in the cockpit. Okay. Those, these days we have more of glass cockpits than the old model but very reliable clocks.
Okay, in the case where all of these concerns are met, all the security checks are met, and travelers are ready to travel, we have a situation where social distancing must be observed.
Yes.
2 meters.
Mm-hmm.
An aircraft that takes, for instance, 500 passengers now is meant to maybe go like 250. Who bears the cost?
Well, in the first place, IATA hasn't accepted that should happen, because I mean, the body, called IATA,
yeah,
very well. Their opinion is that airliners should be allowed to make enough money to be able to keep going and to be able to maintain their airplanes. But if anyone insists on giving the physical or social distancing, as they call them, it makes sense that the airlines would increase the cost of fares in proportion to the loss of seats in there. But at the moment, I don't know of any airline that is agreeing to to do those separations inside the. It will be really very costly, very costly, and would deny airlines the necessary revenue that can ensure safety. Yes, they ensure safety, as a matter of fact. Without money, you can't run an airline. Maintenance is very expensive. Any little check you're doing, be it an air check or a B check or C check or one of those normal routine checks that line engineers who are standing by do.
Talking about the cost,
very expensive.
Okay, talking about the cost and who is possibly going to bear such cost. As you say, it's difficult. The airliners need to make their money, particularly recoup for this period they've not been in service. Okay, if the social distancing is not going to be observed, what other safety checks do you think has been left out in these guidelines that should be considered? Peradventure, those 2 meter space will not be given.
I've shared my opinion that pre-flight sanitizing of in the interior of the aircraft, first of all checking people who are traveling, at least knowing fairly that those that are traveling are not sick and are not likely to have the virus. And then ensuring that anytime an airplane touches down and passengers disembark, you must send in cleaners that would have been properly trained by now to clean out all areas that people are likely to make contact. And which are these areas? Where you rest your hands. I mean, the table that you use to have your drink or eat and other stuff. The toilet, the toilet, door, the luggage compartment covers. Okay. Those things will have to be cleaned out thoroughly.
That's good to know.
And professionally.
So if all the safety measures are taken and passenger traffic resumes, well, what is your estimation? What's your thinking of the patronage? Would the aviation industry bounce back immediately as expected?
No, it won't bounce back immediately. A whole lot of confidence building will have to be done. I would recommend that in the first place, yes, I know airlines need money, but they should attract passengers by, offering cheap tickets for a start. Offering cheap tickets for a start, and then getting, the users of the airplanes to understand that they have really started in earnest and they are airworthy, and that's just absolutely no problem. It will take one traveling once, twice, thrice
to gain
confidence.
Thank you very much, Godi Ike, for sharing your thoughts with us. We hope the airlines get to resume. The skies will be open for business
as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible, because the economy really depends on it.
Yeah. Thank you so very much. Well, moving on, the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed on a negative note this Monday. It depreciated by 0.29% to close at 24,753.92 basis points, with market capitalization at 12.9 trillion naira. A total of 124.6 million shares worth 1.3 billion naira were traded in 3,843 deals. Japan Oil, Guarantee, and Zenith Bank were the most sought-after stocks. Nestle, Fitson, and African Prudential PLC topped the gainers, while the losers were Stanbic, Nigerian Breweries, and Bua Cement. Asian markets were mixed in early trading Monday after the World Health Organization reported a record single-day total of new coronavirus cases around the world. And for details of markets around the world, let's join Bosede Ebo.
Rise in new coronavirus cases around the world has continued to hamper on global economy. European stocks fluctuated in early trading of 22nd June as investors continue to monitor a surge in coronavirus cases in the States and growing concerns over a rise in infections in Germany. Stocks in Asia traded mixed as the number of coronavirus cases stateside soared again. Nikkei closed 0.18% lower at 22,437.27. Hang Seng Index dipped 0.54% as of the final hour of trading. Shanghai Composite dipped slightly to 2,965.27. US stock futures rose to start the trading week, but gains were surpassed by worries about an uptick in coronavirus cases. Same applied on Africa's stock markets as the figures continue to sway in early trading.
Globally, gold prices continue to climb on concerns of a resurgence of coronavirus in China and US that encourage investors to buy the yellow metal. Let's see a graphic summary of other commodity prices. Nigerian local currency breached its support levels broadly except for the short-term forward contract where it showed significant appreciation last week. The Naira's depreciation was triggered mainly by Nigerian Central Bank reserve drawdown as the foreign exchange outflows outpaced inflows. Let's now see how the Naira is exchanging with other international currencies. And that's a wrap on this edition of Business Express. Don't forget you can access all previous episodes on the YouTube and NTA channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter and the handle is at NTA News Now. The hashtag is BizX. Do join us again on Wednesday for another package. As we continue to fight against COVID-19, remember to always wash your hands with soap under running water. I am Benny Adams saying stay safe.